Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is another one of those videos I kind of think I'm preaching to the choir, but just in case, are you ready for the next crisis? Are you ready for the next crisis? No matter what that is. We've all been through several in our lifetimes, I'm sure. But how prepared are you? Now, I am not a prepper by any definition. I am not a prepper, but I do believe in being prepared for some things. And I'm going to go through a few things today that I get ready for. I won't say prep. I mean, we've run into a lot of things. In 2005, I'm in southwestern Ohio, and we had hurricane winds. I think it was Katrina. Hurricane winds. Went to church in the morning. It's getting a little windy, but by the time we got home in the afternoon or around noon, 70 and 80 mile an hour winds. We had no power. I almost couldn't get in my house. Um, but knocked out power for the entire area for most of the week. We personally were without electricity for a full week, and it was kind of challenging to say the least. Luckily, it was cool enough. It was in the fall. It was cool enough, but it made me aware of a lot of things that I was not ready for. Then here recently, we had a few years back in March of 2020, we had the world shut down for a couple months, and people were scrambling at the grocery stores, which I thought was really kind of sad. We went, just like everybody else. We put our mask on. We went. We really didn't need anything, but we just wanted to go and see and maybe pick up a few things, and we did. But I couldn't believe the people were. There was no toilet paper, uh, no paper towels. All the frozen foods like pizzas and things like that for kids, because kids were home. They were all empty, and it just really surprised me. The saddest part was the look in people's eyes. They were fearful, extremely fearful, and part of that fear came from the fact that they knew they weren't ready. They knew they weren't ready to handle whatever was going to come forth, and we all seemed to make it through there. So, and then here more recently, who'd thought if you lived in the mountains of Western North Carolina, that you would be flooded? So many homes, so many people lost everything, and there's really some good videos on that for people who were there, who were actually thought they were ready, but they were not. They were not ready. So if you want to check some things out there, they got some really good videos on that. So we were without electricity for a week. Now my neighbor, I'll not say what he did for a living at the time, but he came home with a big old pull behind generator that big places use, portable generator. He said, you get two, after this is after about 8 or 10 hours, he said, you got two long extension cords. As a contractor, one thing I had was extension cords, lots of them, but I had 200-footers that reached, and he said, you can have two. So we ran the freezer and the refrigerator off that. We had candles for light, so we were okay for a week. It was a little uncomfortable, but we were okay for a week, and I just chipped in with some money for the power, for the fuel. Now, what I've done since then, and even at that time, I had a gas generator, but it was a small one that I used for my business once in a while, and but it wasn't real reliable, and I didn't even try it during that time frame because I didn't need to. I was about ready to, but I didn't need to. And since then, I've upgraded. I've upgraded to a name brand generator. I think it cost me, I'm going to say, a couple $1,000s. Bought it like 2 years ago when I was still doing some work, and it wasn't a big financial stress, but I was still doing some work. So uh, it's got lots of outlets. It's got two main outlets. You can charge phones, do everything. I think the best purchase I've made as far as power has been a power station. If you don't know what that is, look it up. The big online store has lots of them. Do your own research. I researched and researched and researched, so I was blue in the face, and I came up with one. It's like a large car battery, basically, but it's lithium. And I can run my freezer and my refrigerator off of it for about 8 hours before it has to be recharged. It's sitting in my office right now. It's already charged up, ready to go, just in case something happens. All you gotta do is plug in my refrigerator and freezer, and we're good to go. Now, but it'll only last for so long. So I have a generator. This power station will actually charge up in about an hour. Okay, not a big thing. Not a big thing. So I feel pretty good about the power. And for the lights and things, I don't like candles. As a painter, I saw a lot of damaged, candle damaged houses and apartments especially. The ceilings turn black. So we don't burn a lot of candles at my house. Once in a while, not very often. I got a small inverter. It's just a real small inverter. I have Ryobi. Oops, I shouldn't have said the name. I have Ryobi power tools that I use. Uh, I mean, I've got lawnmowers, everything. All the tools I have are cordless, battery operated, 18 volt. But some of the bigger ones are 40 volt. Now that inverter I got was 40 volt. It'll run. I tested it out one time. If you get a small 40 volt, like a 2.5 amp, it'll a living room light. It's LED. It'll last 6 or 7 hours. So we have light. Not concerned about that. As far as phones, you can charge that up in your car. It takes next and low electricity to charge it up in your car, and that works just fine. Now, water is always a big concern. What if your water, the power station goes out at the water department? What if the power goes out and you get no water? It's all gravity fed, but it's got to get up to that tank somehow. We do keep several 5-gallon buckets of water treated. About every 5 or 6 years, I empty them, treat them again with chlorine right out of the faucet, treat them again with a little bit of chlorine, and it's good for another 5 or 10 years. Also, in an emergency, I do have one large filtration system that will filter it, and I have a couple of smaller backpacking things that I can use out of bottles. So, and if push comes to shove, you can always stick a bucket under your downspout during rain. It won't kill you. It might have some roof granules in it, but it won't kill you for the most part. But I'd still filter that or boil it or whatever. Food was a big thing. How long could you last with just what you've got in your house right now? How long could you last with no additional food? My wife and I were talking about that the other day, and we figured if we were careful, and we could keep the freezer and refrigerator going, but you couldn't buy food, and we can't. We can keep the refrigerator and freezer going for about 6 months just based on what I have at home right now. That includes gasoline in the car, so I can use the siphon generator or siphon gas out of the vehicle, so I can run the generator. It'll run for 8 hours on a gallon of gas, so we can last a long time. But how much food do you have? And then, how do you cook it? How do you cook the food? Well, when that hurricane winds went through and we were without electricity for a week, my wife was, I won't say playing, but she was crafting with some silver jewelry at the time. And she had a 1-burner propane stove. That's what she cooked off for a week, outside, of course. And she just made one-pot meals and cooked off that. So I have since upgraded to a little bit bigger propane 1-burner. So we can cook for a long time, as long as it's just one pot and the propane lasts. We have 2 tanks. It would last quite a while. It wouldn't last forever, but it would last quite a while. Okay, it's in the upper 80s here today in southwestern Ohio. What about air conditioning? Well, I'm afraid there you're on your own unless you got a whole house generator. You're going to be warm. There's no doubt about it. Lots of things we use anymore, like flashlights, they use batteries. Well, we stocked up on, we always had probably 20, not a lot, but we probably have 20 extra batteries of every size that we use. And every 3 or 4 years, we'll rotate them. I mark the date on the box, and we'll rotate them because they do lose some power when they sit. But flashlights are a big thing. You get cheap flashlights. We got flashlights in every room of the house, I think, just in case. Of course, the cell phone has a flashlight too, but I like to be able to grab one. Well, if it's wintertime, electricity goes out. Doesn't matter if you've got gas or electric, you're going to get cold. Well, we've got gas logs, very efficient gas logs, I might add. You can run them without the damper open, but I tried it this past winter. I opened the damper just a hair, just to let some of the gas out, and then we closed off a couple areas, and it will literally heat our entire downstairs in our house, which I really like. And now, is it going to be at 70 degrees? No. If it's really cold outside, it might get up to 55 or 60, but you're going to live through it. And one of my sons, he doesn't have that luxury, I guess you would call it. He had a couple babies at home. He bought a kerosene heater. Now, kerosene heaters in the past, they were terrible. They got some good ones out now that You can hardly smell, and they're very efficient, and they're very safe. That's an alternative. Excuse me. Then security. Desperate people do desperate things, and security is a big thing at our house. We keep doors locked. We keep blinds closed when at night. We're very conscious of our security. We live on a very busy street, and but we have two. We have a mounted area protector, motion detector, and we don't use it very often. But we're going to be gone a while in the evening. I might turn it on. Real easy, and trust me, even though it's battery operated, it is loud enough. Oh my gosh, it'll wake the dead. So we got that just in case. Then we've got warning stickers on every entrance to our house, letting people know that we have one. So that's just something. And of course, I'm a big proponent of the Second Amendment. So, and Ohio has a stand your ground rule. So please don't come into my house wanting to cause me or mine harm. It will not end well for you. But that's just the way I am. I would not hurt somebody unless I had to, unless it was self-defense. But anyway, these are just a few things. I wasn't going to make this today. I knew I'd probably make it at some time or another, but I just woke up with it on my heart, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. And we're limited on things that we can spend money on in retirement sometimes. But I tell you what, before I ordered the power station, I bought it, and it had Prime days. I did all my research, and I waited for the Prime days. It went from like $1,200 to half price, $600. I asked the wife, I said, would you rather have $600 sitting in a savings account, or would you rather have this? And she didn't even hesitate. She said, I'd much rather have that, just to know that we're safe and secure and can help other people if the need arises. Well, that's about all I've got for today, guys. I'd like to hear in the comments what you guys do as far as a little bit of prep work, a little bit of security work, just to make yourself safe and feel comfortable just in case of an emergency, because it will come. I don't know if it's a pandemic or a flood or a tornado or a hurricane. It's going to happen, and we need to be prepared, because sometimes help doesn't come real soon, sometimes at all. I know when our electricity went out, our whole street had electricity except for our house, one across the street, and one other house. It happened to be on one transformer. We were like the last ones to get electric. But they've since changed that system a little bit. So now they know what's going on, and we're on a different grid now, I think. But anyway, if you got anything out of this, like, share, subscribe. I might share it with somebody who, not fearful, but a little concerned about what happens if the world stops for whatever reason. And until we meet again, I'm going to continue to press on towards that goal.